In the middle of an investigation of some land deals in a little community, I needed to interview one of the local politicians, who was a very elderly woman who'd been around for a lot of years, and it was clear to me that her involvement in this scheme was not only tangential, but that she was probably used as a front because she was so well known. And I can't say that she wasn't, quote unquote, all there. I mean, I'm not talking about somebody who was doddering and with Alzheimer's, but she wasn't as quick as she once was. And but she was privy, she was at meetings, she was at secret meetings. She could have been tremendously helpful to me. And at minimum, I needed to get her on the record. And she had been very reluctant to talk because the other politicians said, don't talk to them. You know, maybe they realized that she could spill the beans. So I kept, quote unquote, working on her. I called her, I courted her. She was 80 years old. And finally she says, okay, why don't you come over to my home? She also was an Orthodox Jewish woman. I grew up in the Reform tradition. I tell you this for a reason, that while I might have a mezuzah on the doorposts of my house and upon my gates, so to speak, I did not touch it as an Orthodox person might do before you go in. It was just sort of there, a comfort, personal comfort level of being there and keeping a tradition of my parents. When I was walking into the house with her behind me, I reached for the mezuzah because I saw her son do it. And I realized that it was something that might make her feel more comfortable with me. And I reached up and I touched it and kissed my hand, and she remarked that. She says, "Oh," she says, "Are you from? Do you?" And I said, "Well," I said, "I grew up in a different position, but the traditions are very important to me." She says, "Oh, that's great." And I'm telling you, there was a shift. It was what I wanted. I ended up getting a great interview. She revealed a lot more than she probably should have. It showed her to be exactly what I thought she was, kind of an unwitting dupe, but she was able to give me insights into that sent me off in all sorts of very useful directions. Now, I can rationalize it by saying that this was an excruciatingly important story that involved important matters, not only of public policy, but of the lives of people. The cover headline was "Driving Out the Poor." It was what I considered a social pogrom of what was the conspiracy to upgrade, so to speak, the community. And it was, but what I did was I manipulated somebody by using my religion, by playing on what I knew, what she liked. I became a nice Jewish boy who could be trusted, when in this context I was anything but that. And it's something that has stayed with me. And when I tell this to some people, most people say, what's the big deal? You are Jewish. You didn't tell it, you make up. I said, you're missing the point. The point is that I consciously manipulated a person who was in some ways vulnerable by using their religious beliefs and altering their perceptions of me. And I, to this day, think that was pretty despicable. The ends, however, may have justified the means because it helped get a great story, but I don't believe that in my heart.